So this is for the recipe for the pie crust. You'll need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. You're going to need 1 cup and a quarter of butter. 2 sticks of butter will make 1 cup, and then you take the quarter of that, which would be about 2.5 tablespoons, or whatever the measurement is on this. You're going to need a teaspoon of Redmond's real salt. It has to be a fine sea salt. It cannot be iodine salt. Then you're going to need 1.5 teaspoons of the granulated sugar, or you can use a natural sugar if you want. It's totally up to you. You're going to need 1/2 cup of cold water. Now you're not going to use all this cold water. You're only use a couple tablespoons of it, but it's good to have it. And then you're also going to add 2 teaspoons of vinegar, white clear vinegar. And you're going to mix it in with a spoon, and you're going to let that sit. Now this can be done with a food processor. I suggest more doing it with a food processor than doing it with a pastry cutter and mixing it in with a pastry cutter. It'll make it a lot easier and a lot faster. When you cut your butter, make sure when you cut the butter that you cut it up in small tiny cubes. Take it and stick it in the freezer until you're ready to add it to your pie crust. Alright guys, so I have all the stuff, all the dry ingredients mixed in this. You're going to pour it in your food processor like so. And you're going to mix it up real quick, just pulsate it. What you do is you're mixing all the salt and everything in it. Alright, so we have the salt, we have the sugar incorporated with the flour. So now we're going to start adding the butter. Now I've cubed the butter up, it's all broken up. We're going to put the lid back up on the food processor. And then we're going to slowly add this and pulsate it. Probably help if I took this off to make sure my butter doesn't drop. Now I just grab my handfuls. And then I'll start putting it in. You kind of want it like pea size. When you start seeing a pea size, you know you got it, like the size of a pea. If you don't know what a pea looks like, go get one out of your freezer and look at it, and that'll be your pea size. So there's all the butter. Put the top in there, push it down, and then we're going to pulsate it. Then what you're going to do is you're going to add a teaspoon and pulse it. And a little bit more. That should be. Alright guys, so we got this incorporated. Now I'm going to show you that you should be able to take it with your hands and put it together and it form like that. That's perfect. What I have over here is my sheet pan with a little bit of flour on it, so I can dump this out and work this into a ball. So we're going to go and dump it out. There we go. Okay. See how that held together? I'm cleaning up this butter. And then the butter go to waste. Butter's too expensive. Especially expensive, good butter. Alright. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of incorporate this the best I can. Now you don't want to work with this too much. Just enough to get it all incorporated. So I'll take it now. See how it's falling apart? That's what you want. When it falls apart like that, you know you're going to have a really flaky pie crust. But you don't want to work it because we don't want to have a bunch of gluten activate in it. That's what's going to make it hard, and we don't want that. So we're going to break this in two pieces, two close to equal pieces, and then we're going to go ahead and make this a ball like that. I'm going to roll it around here, try to get up all the little stuff, and that's done. And we're going to set this to the side. I have a Ziploc baggie set up already that's been dusted the inside with flour, so we don't have to worry about this sticking to it. They said you don't want to work with it too long because the butter is going to start warming up and breaking down, and then we're just going to have a it won't be as good. Alright, so there's our two balls. Yeah, one's a little bit bigger than the other, but that's okay. Won't hurt nothing. Then we got our Ziploc baggie here. It's still got a little bit of flour in it. We're going to open this up. We're going to throw this in here, and you're going to put it in the fridge for an hour. So we're going to go and seal this up and put it in the fridge for an hour, and then we'll come back and we'll use this tray, the same tray. This is why I like these trays. They have an edge, they don't make a mess, and it's big enough for your pie crust. You roll out this circumference, it will fit exactly in your pie crust. You're not making a mess, you're not getting it all over the countertops and everything. I try to be pretty clean when I try to bake in that, even though I'm not the best baker, but I'm pretty decent at it. Alright, I got my flour all set up. Got flour on my hands to get any extras. Got that done. We'll put the dough in for an hour, and we'll be back and you get to see me roll it out. Alright guys, so some people use saran wrap when they were doing a pie crust, or they use one of the pie rounds. It's an instructional mat that tells you how big a pie crust is, from a 9-inch pie crust to whatever. I prefer to use this because there's no mess involved, and I just roll it out. Pretty simple. Now, the reason why I like these pans so well is because the way this rolling pin is set up right here, when I put it down, it makes my pie crust just what I want it to be. So. Spin it around like this. And sometimes it does stick, which looks like it might be sticking this time. No, it's doing good. And then what I'll do is I'll throw a little flour into there. Make sure it doesn't stick anymore. Just keep rolling it out. When you get a little piece like this, just break it off, put it on your dough, and watch. It'll disappear. Well, it's supposed to disappear anyway. For the most part, it's gone. So, I really don't like these rolling pins, to be honest with you. I have one ordered coming in, an extra pastry chef rolling pin, not this. I just, I just don't like it. So I'm gonna hold my pie pan over there. That'll give me an idea of how far I need to go with this thing. And I know I need to stretch it out just a little bit more. I'll put that over it. Pretty darn close. That should do it. Now I'm going to try picking it up. And it looks like, nope. Fold it over, grab it, fold it over. And I'll take this, roll it into a pie pan on the edge. Now don't worry if it cracks in that, because you can fix it. It's all fixable. See? Then what I'll do is I'll go around the edges. I can break some of this off, put it over here, blend it in, just like that. And it looks like nothing ever happened. Go around the edges. Like I said, if you got something that hangs off, don't worry about it. Not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. You always take pieces like this, and I just roll them up real quick, and I'll put them in the empty areas and kind of put them in. Out. And I'll come to these edges and I'll go around, and then I'll take my knife and I use the pie pan to cut it off. Like I said, nothing goes to waste. I got a little bit in here that was left over. I'll mold it and then I'll put it in the pie pan. Now I'm going to par bake this in my grill. Yes, in my grill, because we don't have a stove here on the homestead. We have a grill. I mean, imagine how they used to do this in the old days, when they had to put it on in a Dutch oven or something to make a blueberry pie. Or I don't have an oven, period, but doesn't stop me from making a good blueberry pie. So I'll just go through real quick, make sure it's done. I got a little crack over here, but I'm going to cut this off, and you'll see I got a little crack right there. I'm just going to push that in and fill it in. Just like that, voila. And then we just want to hold this up maybe a little bit. I'm going to run a pie real quick. Some people don't like a thick crust on the bottom of their pies. I do, because it holds up better. As I feel, it holds up better on the pie. So I kind of go around and feel if there's any low spots and fill them in. A little low spot here. I'll just fill it in. Won't hurt nothing. Maybe right there. Go around. And then I'll go one run. Real quick. Alright guys, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to throw this on my grill and par cook it so the bottom doesn't become all soggy, and you get to see me fill it up and put the top on. Okay guys, step 2 for the blueberry pie is you're going to need 4 cups of fresh or frozen blueberries. These are the ones we just picked. You're also going to need 1 to 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, and a little bit of grated zest. Then you're going to need 3/4 cup of granulated sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, McCormick's, and some organic nutmeg, which you're only going to need 1/8 of a teaspoon of the nutmeg. You'll combine all of these into a pot, as I will show you, with the sugar and the lemon juice, and then with the cornstarch, you're going to want to add about 4 tablespoons of warm water for the cornstarch. And you're going to add 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. You can use tapioca starch or arrowroot if you like, and not use this. I prefer to use this. Alright guys, so in here we have our blueberries, our sugar, our cinnamon, our lemon juice, or a little bit of grated lemon rind. We also have some nutmeg in there, and in this cup over here I have our cornstarch already warm with warm water and already broken down, so when you add it, it doesn't clump on you. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to cook this off and get our pie filling ready, and then I'm going to let the pie filling cool for a little while I'm waiting on the pie crust. Alright guys, so we got our pie crust partly cooked. Alright, so it won't be all soggy. We're going to put our blueberries in there now. Look at that googly good stuff right there. Now that is a blueberry pie. Clean this real good. Look at that. Now this is homemade. These are blueberries we just picked. I wanted to make a blueberry pie so bad. I'm not supposed to have it. I'm a diabetic, but you know what? Sometimes you just gotta say, what the heck, man? Alright, so we got that done. That's put in place. Then I've already rolled out my dough, as you can see right here. So I'm gonna lay that on top of our pie. Just like this. Be very gentle. Flip it over like that. Right like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start pressing the sides with my hands. See my thumbs? What my thumbs doing? And I'm not applying any pressure to the center of the pie. Now, One thing I do want you to realize is that sometimes your dough will shrink. Mine did, shrank a little. It's okay, it's not a big deal. Now, you guys can do lattice work if you want it to. You guys can do anything you want, basically. But I don't have my fancy pants on, so I'm not going to fancy this up. I'm going to keep this pretty basic and legit. It's an old country style pie with one heck of a buttery crust. And this crust just falls apart, let me tell you. It is wonderful. So then what I do is I just want to make sure that it's sealed to the edge. And I kind of try to push down and get it in that ridge. There's a little ridge right here. And you want to push it down and get into that ridge really good so it doesn't boil over out the sides. That way you got good stickiness to it. You see that little crack right there, but I don't care about little cracks. Little cracks never hurt anybody. We just want to make sure that it's up against that. Now what I'm going to do is, it's over here. I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to make a couple slits in it. All right. So we're going to do one here. We're going to do one here. And one here. And one here. And one in the middle. And then we're going to take some egg wash. Just some eggs whipped up from our chickens. And we're going to give it a nice hefty egg wash. Now, there is something else you can do to this. I'm not going to do it because, like I said, I'm a diabetic, so I don't need no more sugar. But if you dust this with some sugar, granulated sugar, OMG, is it good. I used to do that a long time ago, but, you know, that was before I found out I had diabetes, and then I really shouldn't be eating this, but I love blueberries. It's one of my favorites. And we had such a good time doing our blueberry thing, as you can see in the previous video. And then we're gonna get this thing all nice and shined up, get the edges real good. Now you are gonna want to make a 38-inch long piece of tin foil and make yourself a ring, or if you have it. I do have the rings for the pie crusts, but I don't have them down here. They're in storage, so I'm going to make my own out of tin foil. And there you go. We're going to go ahead. We're going to throw this on the grill, and we're going to bake it off the rest of the way. And you guys get to see the end result.